All right. So we did this in Retem. We're going to do it for Kvaris, ranking all of the weapons. I'm not going to do the classes this time around. It got too confusing last time. I'm only going to rank the weapons. We're going to factor in what are some of the class benefits too. This is opinionated because I haven't played every class as much as others. I have extensive knowledge of some classes and very little knowledge of others. This is where you guys in the chat come into play, because you guys are going to be able to convince me one way or the other if this is worth it or not, or if they deserve that ranking or not. But if you are new to the game and you're using this as a rational way of trying to decide a class, just know that what I do speak about, a lot of it is based on opinion, but a lot of it is factual. And I'll let you know if I have or have not played a class a lot. If I've played a class a lot, you can trust that I'm like talking confidently about it. I had so many people in the last video be like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. Or they'd be like, why is Partisan up there in the S rank? It's because I played a lot and I think it is S rank, you know? So anyways, let's go. I'm going to actively pick which ones I want to talk about too, okay? And I want to start with Talis. And I'm putting Talis in A tier. What did Talis get since Retem? Talis got, first off, they got the ability that every time that they use a skill or they use a tech within while during in one of their PAs, they get 6 PP stocked away. And you can store up to 60 PP. And when you recasted that ability, or if the ability expired, instant PP return. Talis prior to was really fun, but you would always run out of PP to the point where it didn't really feel consistent. You would use your PP and then you'd have to normal attack 5 or 6 times, and then you use all your PP and normal attack. With this new ability, you can spam your skill, reactivate the PA, and instantly have some PP back. That with Tricky Capacitor, which gives you PP back again, you can swap between those two skills to basically infinitely have PP if you're really good at managing. You might have to do some sidestep counters for some PP. You might have to normal attack a couple times, but you literally can do this over and over and over with like no stress. You have no problems playing Talis over and over. Really good class. Best tech weapon. It probably is the best tech weapon, but great for PSE bursts. If you're not using it for PSE bursts, you're PSE bursting wrong. Its survivability leaves a lot to be desired, since you can only sidestep, but you do have Tricky Capacitor as an invincibility frame as well. I love Talis. I was like 100% convinced to being a Talis main. I still love using Talis during boss fights. I think it's really fun. I think it's really interactive. I like having some systems with managing PP. I can look at my PP bar and be like, I'm at 60, reactivate, boom, right up to 120, save my capacitor from when I'm at like 30 PP, boom, up to 90, get back down to 60, reactivate, boom, back up to 120. So you have some strategy with how you manage your PP with this class. It's really good. Really good. All right, fighter. You want me to choose a fighter weapon? Man, I don't want y'all to hate me. All right. I'm going to choose Knuckles. I'm going to put Knuckles in B class. I don't play a lot of B. All right, I don't play a lot of Knuckles. The reason why I'm going to put Knuckles in B class, you guys probably have a lot of great damage. You guys probably have, I know you have like some of the best counter damage. I know you guys have a, like, it's a really strong single target weapon, but there ain't really a lot going with it, in my opinion. I've never wanted to really play Knuckles. It's really strong, but I just don't think it got like any major improvements from Kvaris. It's a solid class weapon, but I don't think there's like been any major improvements to it since Kvaris. And if there's any Knuckle mains out there, go ahead and justify this rank, or don't justify it, because to me, like, the weapon is really strong, but I don't think it got any like crazy buffs or any improvements that made it any better. It's just a strong, consistent weapon, and being considered B, it's probably like B plus if I had one. Like, I don't think that's a bad ranking at all. It's just good. If you want to get really into Knuckles, you can be a really strong Knuckle player. You can counter literally everything. You can do the literal best DPS in the game, but it inherently never changes. The class is always going to play the same. So in my opinion, it hasn't really gotten any buffs since Retem. It's just a good weapon. It's just a really good weapon. It's very strong if you uncat camera lock. Very high skill cap, but very strong. Okay, what are we going to choose now? Rifle, A tier. Rifle got really cool. what Thrip says about daggers, we'll get there. I think rifle is an A tier. One, you're still offering blight rounds, which is super clutch. Two, the new weapon action cooldown makes rifle like actually pretty damn strong if you can time your weapon actions. I hear it's a big pain to time them, but like actually a lot of DPS that comes out. Rifle is also the legit best second DPS to, or it's the best multi weapon for twin machine gun because of spread shot and the weapon action. It's just super strong. Yeah, the grenade is just like, super good, super hard to master, but it's super duper strong. If you're a rifle main and then you come back with Kvaris, like your damage was heavily improved. And being an exclusive main 2 rifle actually is a thing now. And that's what I really like about it. Beforehand, it really felt like you needed to go rifle with launcher, and during like down phases or like instances where there was a lot of time in between attacks, you'd switch over to launcher and just fear eraser. That's all you would do. Nowadays, it really feels like you can go exclusively rifle and you're A-okay. AFK class, not anymore, bro. Not anymore. Imagine every counter hitting 2K. Rifle is crazy good. Yeah, it's crazy good. But yeah, like if you want to go exclusively rifle, very strong weapon. Launcher, B tier. God, I almost want to put launcher in C tier. Does anybody use launcher exclusively? Like, honestly, does anybody? I don't know. I think a lot. Honestly, I don't even think I'm going to use COD. I'm going to change these ranks. Hold on. Let me change these ranks. I'm going to go S. I'm going to go A plus. Hold on. Because I don't think I'm going to put any in C or D. I'm going to go A plus, A, B plus, B. Because, like, honestly, I think most of the weapons are good. I'm going to go B plus. I'm going to make this B. That's where I'm going to rank them. Because, like, I look at all of these weapons. I don't really think any of them are in, like, C or D. I don't think any weapon's just so bad you can't play it. I just think that there's weapons that are much better. I'm just going to do this right here. Because last ranking we had, I didn't even, like, use a D. I didn't use it at all. S plus S? No, there's only going to be one weapon in S. Just a heads up. There's only going to be one weapon in S. Just a heads up. Because we really know what you are. There's only one. But anyways, launcher, like, I think it's okay. Divine Impact is really good, but the little bit of experience I have with Divine Impact, you're not really using that outside of like PSE bursts. Want to F? Fuck. You're right. You're right. Can I make more? Can I make more? Can I add more? Oh, add it right above. There we go. There we go here. We'll make this B. And then I'll make this wand. No, I'll make this C. C, there you go. Yeah, launchers, like, you got Divine Impact. Sure, it's a help, but I don't think you're really using it in bossing. It's good for AoE, but launcher was like, wasn't launcher pretty good at AoE, like, really anyways? So I feel like you're pretty much doing the same old. I'm telling you, compared to rifle, I haven't seen anybody exclusively want to play launcher. I feel like launcher is just a multi-weapon for a lot of people. That's all I'm saying. I just think it's a multi-weapon to a lot of people. That's that. If you want to play launcher, go ahead. It's good. Fear Eraser is still one of the strongest, like, skills we have during down phases. I just think, like, it didn't get a lot of improvements. I don't think it's really changed. Yeah, it's a B class. What are we gonna look at now? Let's go Rod. A or B plus? A or B plus? Man, Rod's good. Rod's good. We'll go A for Rod. Access to compound techs. Literally the best farming weapon in the game. Really safe. Really safe weapon action. Technique domination, which applies to force, makes your down phases actually incredibly strong. Like, Rod is just like, man, yeah, the new PP recovery skill where you can just recover while using techs, even though it's not a lot of PP regeneration, it is PP regeneration. Rod's just good, man. Like, Rod will probably always be an A to B plus weapon. It might not be the best, but it's just always good. You can infinite cast the time you get recovery. Well, depending on the weapon or the weapon series you use, if you're using Evil Orbit or Evil Eclipse, if you can get a sidestep counter somewhere, which you probably shouldn't be doing as Rod, but if you do, man, your natural PP recovery goes through the roof. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, PP conversion as well. That's a class skill, but man, you're going to use it if you're forced. So all in all, Rod's just good. Here's the deal. If you're a new player reading this right now and you're looking at classes, just accept the fact that you will make a force Rod build at some point. Rod is that good. It's that great. It's the best farming class. If you've seen any videos online talking about farming in this game, they're almost always a force Rod player because it's the best farming class. So there you go. What else are we going to look at? I want to do double Saber next. God, all my double Saber friends. B+. And I want you to understand something. You're in there with Knuckles because I think you guys are just really good. And if you want to master the class, I think it's really great. I just don't think there was any like major buffs to the class. And I don't think it's like super OP. I think it's just good. Double Saber. What do I like about Double Saber? Skip arts is really fun. I actually think it's one of the classes that use skip arts. Well, I would say Knuckles and Double Saber. I would say Knuckle and Double Saber are like the two fighter class weapons that really abuse the skip arts and the alternate and the parry, not the parries, but the skip arts, photon arts or skills. I really like doing Double Saber combinations. If you've seen my NGS quick tips video about practicing combinations, I was using Double Saber for that because I was like practicing their combos. There's a lot of things you can do with the class. You have Whirlwind, you have Quick Gash, you have, what's the skill called? Dagger Axle? No, that's Daggers. What is the skill called where you like literally like make like a table side? It's just like, it's a super fun class, but at the same time, I feel like I can do more with another class. That's kind of how I feel at Double Saber. If you talk to a lot of Double Saber mains, they're confident in telling you like you don't need a multi-weapon with it. It's a really strong class on its own, and there's value to that. You can play Double Saber for the rest of your life without ever needing a multi-weapon, and you're going to be a-okay. It has a really good weapon action. It has a weapon action counter. It's got good damage. It's got skip arts. Julian Dance is a gap closer that's also some like your strongest damage. You have the ability to go into the air. You have the ability to drop down if you need to. It's a very extensive class. If you want to play it a lot, you could be a really strong Dagger main or Double Saber main. Saber is more fun than Knuckles. I agree, but if you talk to a Knuckle main, like they're gonna say that Knuckles is better and it's more fun. I think Double Saber is a really fun class, and you get to look like Darth Maul. Okay, let's just finish with Twin Daggers. God, where do I put this? I think Twin Daggers is cracked, and they got AOE, dude. Twin Daggers got AOE this time around. They got like there's still like some of like this is like the safest weapon with your weapon action. If you fail your skill, if you fail like your PA, you could just normal attack and dash to the monster. So you have multiple ways to dash and just stick to a monster like glue. I'm pretty sure it's not Ripper. Is it Ripper Arts? Ripper Spam is like your best down DPS by itself. People complain that like daggers don't have good down DPS. They have great down DPS. I don't get it. Your Photon Blast really sucks, but that's okay. You can just multi-weapon it with something that does have a good Photon Blast. But like daggers is just really strong single target, and their new skill is pretty solid for AoE farming. If you see a twin dagger main doing a PSE burst, like they actually do work in a PSE burst. Like they can actually farm. Double Saber PB is OP. Yeah, exactly. Double Saber is OP. It is OP. Yo, what's up, Altina? Good to see you, dude. Welcome back to streaming, dude. I saw you recently. Yeah, that's one thing people are mentioning in the chat. Like Double Saber, or not Double Saber, Twin Dagger Knuckles is the big combination that a lot of people do. It's a really strong combination because you have Twin Daggers. You have Twin Daggers just to use their really strong, quick photon arts, and then you have the Knuckle weapon action. Because Twin Dagger's weapon action doesn't necessarily do a lot of damage. It's very safe and it teleports you places, but Knuckles' weapon action does a lot of damage. And so you can get the best benefit out of Knuckles, which is their weapon action, and you get the best benefit out of Twin Daggers, which is their really quick attacks that are really strong that can abuse skip arts. So honestly, really fun class. When I was playing Daggers, just messing around, I was like, God, this is so good. I could not get over how great the class was. It's really good. I want you to know something. Look at this. All of the fighter weapons are like up here, and that's a reason. Like fighter is, when people ask for like what class to play or what to try out, I always recommend fighter because you really can't go wrong with any of the weapons. And if you don't like one, you're bound to like one of the other ones. It's just the honest to God truth. Fighter is just probably the most recommended class at first because it's just, you're going to have fun with the class. You're going to have fun with it. You're going to have fun with it. Oh, thanks for the primer. That was like an honest, that was honest. I think the last ranking, I had Twin Daggers at the tip top because Twin Daggers is like just so strong. Okay, let's see. Fuck, Jet Boots. Let's do Sword. Honestly, yeah, I'll put Jet Boots as B. Or not Jet Boots, Sword. Sword's good. Sword's good. Don't get me wrong. I just think there's a lot left to be desired with like the idea behind Sword. Kind of the direction they've gone with skills for the Sword is sit and hold your skill and you're just going to automatically activate Avenger Arts. Avenger Arts is very important to the Hunter skill tree. It's how you do the most damage. That's how you stay safe. And so it is nice that you can just hold a skill down and you're guaranteed to get a perfect parry, guaranteed to be safe and do a lot of damage. The problem is that's so counterproductive to the class in itself because you're basically teaching people like, oh, instead of maintaining aggro, like being aggressive and then just timing my skills right, I'm just going to stand back and do nothing for a couple seconds and then get hit. So I think like I don't like that ideology behind that. With that being said, Sword's a great multi-weapon because it is safe. I play Partisan. I love Sword because there are certain instances where I can't do damage anyways. You know, say it's like a ranged attack or they're way up in the air and I can't touch them. I could sit there just charging with Sword if I know an attack is coming and I'm guaranteed to get the perfect parry off. I'm guaranteed to be safe, guaranteed to do good damage. So Sword, it does have its benefits, but as a main weapon, I just think there's a lot left to be desired. It is strong. Don't get me wrong. You have the weapon action. You have invincibility frames after the weapon action with your counter. It does have some AoE. I've never been really interested in the Sword. I would much rather try Wired Lance next instead of like really going deep into Sword. I think it's a good multi-weapon. I just don't think it's a good main weapon. Two-hand Katana needs a buff. I don't think Sword needs a buff. I think it needs a complete redirection of its ideology. If this is the whole plan for Sword is to always just be the really safe weapon, great. It's never going to be strong then. That's fine. Go ahead. Some weapons can't be perfect. It has its uses. It's just not a good weapon by itself, in my opinion. Man, slating on my Sword. If you like playing, I hate explaining things because I know somebody out there is gonna be like, check out this guy on YouTube. He's really good at Sword. People can be really good with weapons. Don't get me wrong. You can play Sword fine. I just think the playstyle of Sword is so lacking. Like when you play Sword, like you could play it right. I still think if you're going to play Sword right, like go play any other weapon and do more damage and be way more effective. But that's just an opinion. Okay. Let's do Wires. Dude. Oh man, I'm going to get flack on this. Where would I put Wires? Oh man, I'm going to get flack. Oh man, Wires is S. I'm going to tell you my dilemma. Let me explain Wires a bit and then we'll figure out where we're going to put it. Let me get some water. Wired Lances got so many buffs in the past like 3 months. It feels like a whole new class. A lot of their skill tree got a bunch of buffs. They just feel really great. They have good AoE. They have the ability to like, you know, dash and jump around. It's a really good multi-weapon now, but by itself, it's really strong. Oh man. So why is Wired Lance good? So Wired Lance now has the ability to stock away Avenger Arts, which is really really important for hunters because Avenger Arts is where you get your damage. During down phases, there's typically no attacks incoming. Wired Lance has the ability at any point in the fight, they can use their weapon action. And if their weapon action activates an Avenger Art, it stores a stock of that Avenger Art away. And then the next Wired Lance PA you do will guaranteed to be an Avenger Art attack. So as a multi-weapon, it's great because at any point you can just boom, weapon action, Avenger Art, store it away, and then during the down phase, you go into any skill, it's guaranteed an Avenger Art, and it does a bunch of damage. That's also just really nice if you're a Wired Lance player, because some skills may have like really tough timings. You just tap your weapon action, boom, you're guaranteed to get the Avenger art and then go into anything else and you're, get an Avenger art. I'm gonna put it dude, don't hate me. I'm gonna put it at B+. I think it's good. I think it can be really strong. I actually think it can be, man, you guys are gonna hate on me. I'm gonna put it A. I'm gonna put it A to save face. I think it's the strongest hunter weapon right now. I really do. If you wanted to practice any of the hunter weapons, I would say that Wired Lance is probably the strongest right now. If you can hit Avenger arts, if you can maintain tempo, I think its whole kit kind of got revamped and it's really strong now. It's really strong. Very tough weapon though. I'd say Wired Lance is probably one of the harder weapons to master now. Its PAs are really long, so getting PAs to constantly hit Avenger arts is pretty tough. But you do have your weapon action that you can tap for Avenger arts anytime. Really good AoE too. Like you could play this class and go PSE farm or PSE burst farm like AOK too. All right, let me just finish this out. I'm gonna put Partisan in A. I'm pretty judgmental on Partisan. I play it a lot. I think Partisan's still really strong. God, you guys are gonna give me flack, aren't you? You're gonna say, how could you put double Saber and Knuckles? I mean, this is Hunter. This is just Hunter privilege right here. This is a Hunter privilege. And just deal with it. I think Partisan's really, really fun to play. So Partisan, why is it fun? Avenger arts, as all the other Hunter weapons. But the thing about Avenger arts with Partisan is that you have so many other skills that get massive buffs from Avenger art. So when you Avenger art, you can follow up with a skill called Assault Charge. Assault Charge gets potency whenever you land an Avenger art. So you can get really big combinations of damage for very little PP cost, and you can do them pretty quick. On top of that, you do have a really safe weapon action, and your weapon action improves even more damage on your Assault Charge. So at any point in a fight, you can pretty much be enhancing your damage at some later point in the fight, which is really nice. It has no AoE. This class has no AoE, but it's a really good boss killing weapon. And when I'm ranking most of this, I'm typically looking at like how good they're going to do at bossing, because that's what this game is. It's killing bosses. Partisan's good, guys. Volcraptor is the only thing I can complain about. It has no use in the game right now, but hopefully they can update. If they can update Volcraptor to like just do more damage, dude, Partisan would be great. It's a really good weapon. I love Partisan. Guide will be out soon for it. What the heck do I do in this game? I got a rock swan, but I don't remember getting it. I don't know. It's really good. Soaring Blades. Oh my god, dude. Dude, man, I feel bad for Soaring Blades. Chrono, I'm so sorry. I'm putting Soaring Blades in the C class, and I'm gonna give my reasons why. In terms of damage, Soaring Blade is one of the strongest classes right now. But in terms of like how does the class feel and the design behind the class, there's nothing there. It's the worst class design ever. They had like such a cool idea at the beginning. People figured out a way to like abuse mechanics behind Photon Frenzy, Fanatic Blade, and then literally they nerfed that, and then like the class has just been like sitting there waiting to get updated, and it's never gotten updated. I'm once again gonna remind you, Soaring Blades is one of the strongest weapons right now, but the reason why it is strong is literally just abusing lingering hitboxes. It isn't because the class is good, it's just abusing lingering hitboxes. That's like doesn't make the class feel good. That just makes you strong because you have a little neat trick. The class still sucks to play. I'm really sorry, guys. It's like your weapon action turned into a guard parry, a guard frame, which is nice, but you can't guard multiple lines of damage. So if you're using a PA and you use your guard frame, you have to sidestep out of it anyways because you have no other way to protect yourself. So you're still like hindered by like zero ingenuity when it comes to that weapon action. And that's going to continue to be like such a shortcoming of this class until they figure out how to redesign it. Like the weapon action had a really good use at the beginning of Alio when it first came out, and then they nerfed it and they haven't been able to figure it out since. And until they don't figure it out, like it's just gonna feel gross playing Soaring Blades. Once again, I know some of y'all's are gonna be like, what do you mean? This is like, it's such a strong class. Just because I say it's bad does not mean that it's going to be bad to you. Try it out and see if you like it. I'm just stating that it does not feel fun to play, in my opinion, when I was playing it. What is a lingering hitbox? So basically, some monsters will do an attack and it'll have like multiple lines of damage that will follow up, like maybe half a second, maybe even a whole second later. A lingering hitbox, meaning you can guard one line of damage, and then while that next piece of damage is coming in, you can sidestep it. So what Soaring Blades will do, they'll use a photon art, and while you're using a photon art, you can activate your weapon action, and it will give you guard frames. And when you successfully do guard an attack with that, it'll do a huge counter attack. And so what people are doing is they're using a PA, guarding the first line of damage, immediately sidestepping after that, and it's still doing the counter attack. And when you sidestep, you can do a sidestep counter. So what they're doing is they're getting two whole different attacks with one like swoop of an attack with two lingering hitbox. They're getting the guard counter and the sidestep counter for huge damage. But not every monster has that. Not every boss you can abuse this mechanic off of. So yeah, you're not going to be able to get that off. But in some bosses, yeah, Soaring Blades is like absolutely savage if you can time that right. Like Croc Yellow Beam, yeah, Croc Yellow Beam. I think Bujin, when Bujin will like jump in the air and then like swipe around, that has a lingering hitbox. You can do this mechanic with it too. But I'm sorry, just because you have a little bit of a gimmick does not make you an S tier because of damage alone. The class still feels like crap to play. Sorry to say it. It feels like crap. Difference, Launcher is worse than Soaring Blade, but I love Launcher with rifle. Even Launcher is only a support weapon right now. Dude, real talk, you're right. I should put Launcher in C as well. I should put Launcher in C. If I'm going to say Soaring Blades is C, I feel like Launcher's there too. Like, what has Launcher really gotten recently? I don't know. Does Launcher feel good to play anymore? Like, if you exclusively play Launcher, do you even enjoy playing Launcher? Yeah, we'll put Launcher in C class too. I'm sorry if there's any Launcher mains, but I haven't heard of a Launcher main since Alio. Ugh. You got dropped. You got drugged down. All right, Jet Boots. Man, Jet Boots. Where do we put Jet Boots? I'm going to need a little bit of help from Jet Boot mains because you got the new skill. I think it's called Surging Impulse. I know it got nerfed for subclasses. I don't know how good it is for main classes anymore. I did play a little bit of Jet Boots. Class is cracked. Your weapon action is super cheap. I love it. You can activate it, really quickly. You can also spam it when you need to just keep hitting, like blocking in an AoE, and you just literally just keep spamming it. There's Frostal, you can hit it and like you can activate your weapon action like 26 times, and you're doing damage every single time because it's an automatic hit scan. Weapon action, hit scan, automatically hits. Super cracked. You still have some of the best down damage with Jet Intensity. All your skills are still really strong. You have Jet Volt Sweep, which is a really strong ability when you are countering or using skills. So good. So Surging Impulse was much needed. So Surging Impulse gives you an AoE, and then doesn't it also add to elemental downs too? Infinite parries, like, bro, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna put it in A+. It's Jet Boots is really good. There's a reason why you see so many Jet Boot mains out there. Jet Boots is really strong. It just really is. Yeah, it procs elemental set. Yeah, like which elemental set gives you even more damage. All in all, like if you're a Jet Boot main, you're having a great time. It's one of the weapons that I always recommend for people to play. I always say try Fighter and try Jet Boot. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Try Jet Boot, try Fighter. Those two, you're gonna have a good time. That force forward tech is annoying though. It's the reason why I don't like it. But here's the deal. When I first tried it, when it was released in Alio, I didn't like that ability. When I tried Jet Boots again in Retem, I never had an issue with that forced movement forward for techs because I never was using techs. I'm not going to lie, guys. You used it once to get the elemental bonus on your weapon, and then you just went ham. You never touched that element set again. You never did. Jet Boots works solo and multi. One of the best multi weapons you could do for Talis, for Rod, for Wand down here, because Jet Intensity is such a strong down phase, and you don't need any PP for it. So you can expend all your PP, down phase, you switch over, Jet Intensity, fill your whole bar of PP, and do crazy damage. It's just really good. Talis being over here sus. I know I'm gonna get called out for Talis being A+. That's such a boomer choice right there. Talis is cracked though. I'll finish out the tech weapons with Wand. C tier. Oh man. Oh man. It's the same problem with Soaring Blades. I know that people are going to be like, look at good players, look at Einhander, look at them do solos and shit. That's fine. The class still sucks to play. Any one main will tell you that their class just sucks to play. I'm sorry. You did get your fourth normal. The fourth normal is really cool since you can have invincibility frames. You can do some extra damage with it. But it suffers the same problem as Soaring Blades, which is they just really isn't any benefit to playing Wand aside from just wanting to try to be good with a very unused class. But it needs a redesign, or it needs some special gimmick that makes the class feel good, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Kryzen Wand main. I know. But you agree with me at the same time. You need a buff. You need a revamp, not a buff. It's the same problem with Soaring Blades. We need buffs. Even if you did really good damage, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you did a lot of damage, I don't think people are switching over to Wand. I don't think people would enjoy playing it. That's the problem. You have access to techs. You have a really good strong PB. You are a techer main, so you have shifted D-ban, so you're always going to be needed for shifted D-ban in runs. But the weapon itself just is not fun to play. I played a little bit of Wand. Every time I try to go back to play Wand, I take like 20 minutes playing it, and I'm like, this is just awful to even, like, I can't even touch this weapon right now. Not saying it's bad, just saying off of play style alone, it's just not a good time. Twin machine guns, A+. Twin machine guns is like the best range damage that we have. It's the most stylistic class that we have. It's a really safe class now with the, I'm gonna forget the name of it, but after your style roll, you have, what is it called? Rising Arts, Rising Shot, I think it's what it's called, which gives you even more invincibility. Range damage with melee. It's strong though. It's probably one of the coolest gimmicks to a class, which you have your chain trigger, you build it up, and then you use a charged PA to do more damage for a set amount of time. It's a fun gimmick that, you know, you're always trying to build this up. You're trying to maintain aggression, and then you're trying to find these moments in time where you can use your chain trigger and punish the enemy by being able to, you know, abuse with a lot of damage. Dude, I don't know what to say. If you haven't tried Twin Machine Gun, tried it. You feel like a badass playing it. Even if you're like semi bad, you still feel really good. Strike Back Advanced, is that a skill on a stylish roll counter bullet? That's probably what I'm thinking, stylish roll counter bullet. But it's just really strong. And it's very stylish. It's very fun. If you're a Twin Machine Gun main, you're pretty much always a TMG main. You can go ask any TMG main. They pretty much only play that class for that reason. Don't you guys have some pretty good AoE now with the new skill? I forgot what it's called. I'm terrible with skill names, but TMG's biggest issue is the physical down build is literally the lowest in the game. Fair enough. If you're trying to solo, I know Uber's talked about that often. That's kind of that's like an end game thing. But like if you're doing group content, dude, TMGs are just wrecking shop. One thing I would like to see with TMGs, it would be cool if they had some sort of supportive ability, but they don't need it. They're just really strong. That's sad. I don't want to talk about it too much. Gunner's just really good. The nice thing about TMG as well, I mentioned it for rifles. TMG rifles are really strong multi-weapon, because during some of your down phases, or like after like chain trigger or something, before you start your chain trigger again, you can literally use spread shot and grenade on rifle and just get like even more burst damage out, and then go right back into twin machine gun. Like, they got a lot of burst. If you multi-weapon that, Twin Machine Gun has main class damage, so you have access to like homing darts and stuff too. So TMG, like, it's a great single target weapon, and then you have access to one of the best AoE weapons in the game. So TMG is really nice for the multi-weapon abilities too. Really bad for the first 45 seconds of a fight. Infinite ricochet, yeah. Okay, so all we have is Braver Lass. Okay, don't freaking hate me, guys. I'm gonna put. Don't hate me, bow mains. Y'all's hated on me last time. I'm gonna put bows in B+. I don't play a lot of bow. Someone try to justify why bow is better right now. You guys got Ceaseless Draw back in Retem. From what I remember, a lot of people said you're not gonna really be using Ceaseless Draw that much. It is really good when a monster is stationary and you can get all the lines, including the last line of damage out. They say it's really good, but if you cannot get that last line of damage out, it's weaker than doing, I think, like a complete charged flex arrow or doing any other combo. So what I've been told is like, okay, you got some skills that are good, but they're like very situational, so it doesn't necessarily help you out all the time. However, I hear that Bo is just really, really good. Yo, Bo is good because Cake plays it. Absolutely. I'm trying to remember. So there's another gimmick going on. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but what a lot of people are doing is they're doing rifle multi-weapon with Bo, because the grenadier skill that reduces the cooldown of the weapon action on weapon actions activates on a multi-weapon with Bo, in which case Bo, you're almost always doing a second charge, or not charge, second charge, but the first charge of flex arrow into a weapon action. And so if you guard something, you instantly have grenade up, so then you can just go use grenade whenever too for even more damage. So I hear it has like a lot of good damage. So it's a strong weapon. Like, people who literally, look at this. The 3 that I put here are like people who play these classes are like, they're like dedicated to the class. They typically only play this, and this is it, because it's a high skill cap class that is strong in the right hands, but isn't as appealing as other classes. So, you know, if you really like it and you love it, you're gonna play it. But you may not enjoy it, and that's fine. You have a lot of other options, and I do think there is better options, but not to say these are completely bad. Complete charge flex is cracked on bosses. I know, like back in Alio, people would like charged flex on Pettis because there was a lot of time that you had to wait, and yeah, you just like instantly crit for 10k right at the beginning of the fight. Like, damn, bro. I know that like there's some gimmicks with the piercing of Bo, like in the for example, the hands part during Dark Files, when he puts his hands down, you can actually go to the side as a Bo and do charged flex arrows and hit through multiple body parts and hit 10ks 12ks on every single body part. So you can do some really cool stuff with Bo. The Bujin 4-player speedrun is literally just pre-charging flex and firing it the moment the quest starts. It's a 1-second fight. There you go. You know, like so they're good. I really like playing Bo. I think Bo is an interesting playstyle. You're like a jumping bean. You're moving around a lot. There are some states where you are charging a lot of skills too. Being precise with the weapon action is pretty difficult. And so, like I said, a good Bo player is a good Bo player, and they're really strong. Like I said, these 3 classes right here in B+ are like classes that like they're strong in the right hands, and if you're willing to put your time and effort into it, you're gonna be really strong, and you're a really cool class. Best pre-charge damage skill in the game. Yeah. Doesn't Bo have a pretty good PB as well? I just love the class. It looks so cool. Dimensional arrow, charged dimensional arrow with like, and you're using flex arrows, and you hit once and then another arrow comes out of the sky, and then you're weapon actioning to get some PP back. Like, it's just such a cool vibe, man. Like, class in general is really cool. And the piercing aspect of the class, it makes it unique, and it makes it diverse. Like, you lining up pierces to do more damage to multiple enemies, if there are any, or like multiple body parts. That's cool, man. Like, something you have to focus and really practice on. Bo is finicky to learn, but once you do, it's cracked. So I'm putting you in B+. Yo, I know there's gonna be some people in the chat and in the comments saying like, yo, it deserves more. Tell me that it deserves more. I just think you're good. And dude, I hate to do it, man. Kuropi's gonna be cheesing, but the only S tier right now is Katana, and I don't think this is changing for a while. Save the best for last. I know a lot of people are gonna say nerf Katana, nerf Katana, nerf Katana, and I agree. Actually, I think Katana's damage right now is way too strong. The one blade to rule them all. I think Katana's damage is too strong, but I'm going to omit discussion about damage, because if you've been reading or listening, a lot of what I'm talking about here is how do the classes feel and how do they play. Because I do think this isn't a game where like DPS matters, but not as much as like other like MMOs. This game is really a feels based game. If you feel good with a class, you're going to excel with that class. It's just the case. Here's the problem with that. Katana feels good for anybody, and that's the issue. It has a dash, It has a ranged attack, like just as much range as Machine Gunner, by the way. It has a really strong ranged attack. It has a really quick PA in Silverleaf Storm that you can actually sidestep and weapon action out of. So you can be really safe and really aggressive in boss fights, especially really fast reactionary fights like AMs, Kelkundo, Bujin. You can sit there with Silverleaf Storm still pumping out damage. And at any point, if you need to, weapon action. It's so safe. And I haven't even gotten to the best part. So you have two abilities that immediately hit scan in weapon action and Fearless Attitude. You if you block an attack with it, you immediately hit scan and you do a lot of damage. So it's just super duper strong. And that's what I love about Katana so much right now, is the safety of it. I play Partisan, so I'm used to doing Avenger arts. And so when you did an Avenger art, you had to be very precise timing. And if you were off by any little bit, boom, you were instantly hit by damage. Now you compare that to how you play Katana, which is, I'm going to use this skill. I'm going to use it a second time, so I have a longer Fearless Attitude frame. And I have now like a whole second of just waiting for an attack. And I do a lot of damage. And I get PP return. And I get natural PP regeneration. And my normal attacks do more damage. You get so much benefit off of a 1 second time window. And guess what? Oh no, if the attack took longer for it to show up, I just weapon action after that. And then let me remind you even more that even if I'm like really unconfident in a fight, I can just hold weapon action and I don't get the hit scan, but I just block the attack. So it's like, it's 100% the safest class right now. And unfortunately, all of those counters do way too much damage right now. So it's one of the best damaging classes. Now, moving forward, I do think they need to reduce the damage on the counter attacks, the weapon action hit scan, and the Fearless Attitude, because I would say 60% of a Katana Bravers kit is just hitting counters, spamming counters. You're doing a lot of damage outside of that, but you're basically fishing out counters. And that's why it's so strong right now, is because the counters do so freaking much damage and give you so many pluses. So if it was me, I would say drop the damage of the Katana damage, of the counter damage, and this class in general would still be an S for how it feels. I'm sorry, I've played Partisan. I've been playing Braver for the last month, and I've been having a great time. There's not a single boss that I hate playing as Braver, because I know that I can get counters. I know that I can weapon action. I know that I can outplay the boss, and I can do it very smooth and fluid. But Partisan and other classes, like, you have to be way more precise timed, and there's way more punish if you aren't precisely timed. Braver doesn't suffer from that, and they have the most damage. On top of that, your Photon Blast is really strong. On top of that, you get a Katana combat finisher, the Katana combat, that just gives you reduced PP for 15 seconds, does damage, and at the end of the use of it, gives you extra PP back. So like, you never are have an issue with PP as Katana. You also can use that as an invincibility frame if you really needed to. Like, the class in general is just super duper cracked. Yeah, I could go on talking about it, but like, you all know at this point, like, Katana's really good. And I don't think that's changing for a while. Because if you guys remember when it came out in Alio, there was a lot of problems, and they slowly buffed it and made it into this. And even though the damage is the issue, how the class plays is really good. And how that class plays, every other melee here, other classes can too, but every other melee needs to get to that point. It needs to get to the point where you have fast PAs, where you have multiple ways to counter or multiple ways to affect a fight and punish enemies. And if other classes can get to that point, they're going to be up here as an S rank too, because they're going to feel better. But it's just the name of the game right now. Like, other classes just don't feel as good. They just don't feel as good. I think SB is kind of low. From a feel standpoint, no, I think SB is fine. They do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong.